No, she's not doing any of that, okay? She knows better. She's just gonna be scared out of her mind is all.
Let's hope you're right.
So you're his wife, and you love him, and he didn't come home last night, and you got scared enough to come down here and talk to me.
She knows. She's in the game now.
What? No, she's not in the game.
Hey guys, Kiwi here. In this video, I'll be breaking down and discussing Kim meeting Lalo in Better Call Saul Season 5. Warning is spoilers up to episode 508, and let's jump right into this. So really, there's 3 parts to this video that I want to discuss. Obviously, Kim meeting Lalo is a big one, but I also wanted to discuss Jimmy's conversation with Kim near the beginning of the episode, along with the glow stick conversation between Mike and Jimmy about Kim being in the game. As we know from watching episode 508, Kim ends up going to see Lalo due to Jimmy not coming home the previous night. This is absolutely insane, and we'll get more into why, but I'm scared for Kim's life. You might be as well, and the show seems like they have us exactly where they want us. So first off, when Jimmy's talking to Kim, telling her the truth about being the bag man for Lalo, we see just how much Jimmy means to Kim, and how much she cares for him. The way that Kim freaks out and reacts to what Jimmy is telling her is very realistic and relatable, and I'm pretty sure almost everyone would react the same way that she did, considering the dangers that Jimmy is telling her. At first, she was just happy that he was telling her the truth and that he knew the cartel, even though she wasn't happy with it, but mostly because she knows that she can't stop him when he wants to do something. But here she still tries, showing that she's genuinely worried about him. Jimmy does sound like he's trying to convince himself as much as he's trying to convince her. He's not really saying anything convincing at all about why he'll be safe. He says if he sniffs trouble, he'll be out there real quick. Well, we know from watching the episode, those vehicles they drove up on him real fast, and he stops, he doesn't try to drive away, and he would have been completely screwed if it wasn't for Mike. Notice how Kim says that she wants to go with him. Good thing she didn't, but she was ready to. Her first instinct isn't to run and hide, it's to jump in. She's going to willingly get herself deeper into this mess than she already was. Kim was already somewhat involved just because Jimmy telling her the truth about everything, so she has that knowledge, let alone going and doing something about it. This brings us to the second main discussion of the episode, with Mike and Jimmy having their glow stick conversation. Jimmy implies that Kim knows what he's doing because Jimmy explains how she probably thinks that he's dead by now. Mike puts 2 and 2 together and starts questioning exactly how much she knows, along with what she'll do with the information once she starts panicking. The way that Mike goes about this is a bit sexist. He has a lot of vague stereotypes, such as the wife calling the cops, or calling her mother or her boss or her friends calling the book club. Anyways, Jimmy assures him that Kim isn't some normie, and she's not gonna run to the cops like, let's say, Nacho's dad. She's not gonna run and tell anyone, or just everyone in general. Jimmy thinks that she won't do anything stupid, but what he could have never predicted is that she'd go down and speak to Lalo herself. But first, I want to point out how brilliant the dialogue is between Mike and Jimmy when Mike tells him that she's in the game now. Mike has a good point. Regardless of what she may or may not do, Jimmy unintentionally signed her up by telling her the truth. It's funny because at the end of episode 506, Kim yells at Jimmy for saying that lying to protect her isn't a good enough reason. And normally I'd have to agree. I was on Kim's side at the end of episode 506, but when it comes to the cartel, that's another situation. Jimmy and Kim just so happen to have a relationship-ending argument about not keeping the truth from her to protect her anymore, right before Jimmy gets caught up in all of this cartel business again, trying to get Lalo out of jail. If Jimmy truly wanted to protect Kim, he probably should have lied to her about ever having anything to do with the cartel. At least in Mike's mind, the only way to keep her safe and away from danger is to not have her know, the same way that Mike considers his own family protected because they don't know what he does. So because of this, Jimmy unintentionally gets Kim in danger by trying to do the right thing by telling her the truth. It all relates back to what Chuck said about how Jimmy's gonna destroy all the lives around him even though he means well. This is all because of the rule where he said that he should tell her something when he feels like he shouldn't. Mike tells Jimmy that she's in the game now because she knows, but Jimmy is in complete denial, and Mike can tell that Jimmy is in denial and that everything's compartmentalized in his head a certain way. So Mike just doesn't even bother, because if he pokes and prods at it revealing the truth, it'll just destroy Jimmy even more if he could even get through to him, and now's not the time, being stuck out in the desert with him. I love the glow stick scene between Mike and Jimmy because the whole episode the viewers are probably wondering what Kim's thinking. Jimmy told her that he'd be back home before she was the night before, and so they do a great job touching on this between Mike and Jimmy's conversation. The glow stick scene flows right into the scene where Kim meets Lalo. This is perfect because it's already on our mind and we get to see the way that she reacts when she's worried with the information given to her. This is exactly what Mike was worried about, but even he couldn't have predicted that she'd literally go down and speak to Lalo face to face. Kim pretends to represent Lalo's legal team, probably spooking him and making him assume the worst. Kim apologizes, saying that she wouldn't have done that if she didn't need to. In her mind, she feels like she needs to do this. She needs to find out what happened to Jimmy, and this is her last resort. The thing is, this is all her opinion. This is her reacting to Jimmy going missing, what Mike was worried about. She absolutely does not need to do this. This was her choice, and she unnecessarily put herself in danger, as she doesn't even get anything out of it. Lalo's pissed that Jimmy opened his mouth to someone else about his business, and Kim's obvious distress in her voice doesn't give her leverage. If anything, it gives Lalo the advantage, knowing that she's desperate for answers. Not only is Kim putting herself in danger, now she's gotten Jimmy in trouble with Lalo opening his mouth to her. She comes to him stating that she knows his real name and the business about his bail money. At this point, Lalo starts putting two and two together, realizing that she's acting on her own, and that it's nothing to be threatened with. Even though Kim tells Lalo that she has spousal privilege similar to lawyer-client privilege, he's still not impressed. This is confirmation to Lalo that Jimmy didn't run off with the money, as he wouldn't have run off without Kim, or at least letting her know, and if she knew that he had the money, she certainly wouldn't be there talking to him right now. Kim gets nothing out of him, and she's just given the option to wait it out. If he's alive, he'll eventually show in a few days, and if not, sending her out there to find him won't make a difference. It's the cold hard truth, but Lalo was even polite about it, and it's what she needed to hear. If only she could have came to that realization on her own without showing her face to Lalo, endangering both Jimmy and herself even more so. Now Lalo knows Saul's real wife, along with the fact that she knows Lalo's real name and his business. He knows her face, and he knows that she cares about Jimmy, so he can now use her as leverage in the same way that Gus is threatening the life of Nacho's dad against Nacho. As if Jimmy unintentionally getting her involved by telling her the truth wasn't bad enough, now she's taking it upon herself to go meet Lalo Salamanca, solidifying her involvement. Mike was right, she already was technically involved in the game because of the knowledge that she had, but now by her own choice, she's diving into danger head first. Just as Mike suspected, if she wasn't on the map already, she's likely to do something of her own accord that will just endanger herself further. Now at any moment, Kim's life is now in danger. At any moment, she could be kidnapped and taken out into the desert and killed or used as leverage against Saul. Will she eventually die at the hands of the cartel, or is that just what the show wants us to think and be scared of? Will Saul break up with her and push her away and keep her safe, or will she find the vacuum cleaner man alongside Nacho and change her name and identity? This leads me into the discussion that I'll be breaking down in depth once season 5 has concluded. Is Kim in Breaking Bad, or rather where is she during Breaking Bad? We'll be discussing Kim's character, her backstory, and her potential future in the Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul universe. Due to Kim's new flashback at the beginning of episode 506, I believe, her hometown is yet again confirmed, so could that relate to Gene in Nebraska? Will we see Kim in the Gene timeline? Also, Saul had 2 previous wives, and that was recently confirmed. So is Kim still his 3rd current wife in Breaking Bad? Is Saul secretly married to Kim in Breaking Bad and we just never saw? But how could he be married to Kim in Breaking Bad when we saw him flirting with Francesca? He comments on her ass in the first episode that we see him in Breaking Bad right before Walt and Jesse kidnap him. Unless that's really him pretending to be single, but Francesca even knew Kim from back in the day, so she'd probably know the truth. All of this and more will be discussed in depth during a future video, Where is Kim during Breaking Bad? As I said, I'll be doing that video after season 5 finishes, and I'll most likely reference this comment section as well as a few others, so let me know what you guys think about pretty much everything I just summarized. I'd appreciate a like on the video if you've enjoyed anything that I've said today, and if you're new here, just haven't yet already, subscribe and hit that bell notification thing for updates on when I post new content on Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. As always, I thank you guys all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out!
Okay, then I'm going with you.
Well, they're only expecting me.
I apologize for that. I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't absolutely have to be.